Kevin Gaffney is a young visual artist from Dublin. He came over to London to study. He's been all around the world making his films, which include photography and films. They're surreal, they're unique. He's doing very well, which is obviously why he won Sky Academy Arts Scholarships. And he came over from Dublin here to London to talk to me. How did you first become interested in filmmaking?
During my BA studies in Dublin, I started experimenting with video, and I was performing in the films myself and compositing different versions of myself talking to each other.
Can you give us an idea what these early films were like? What did you talk to yourself about?
It's actually quite similar to the work I'm making now in that it was all about identity, but then it was very much my own identity. So I guess I was talking about sort of different facets of myself.
What were you trying to find out? What did you say about yourself?
I think growing up in Dublin at the time was very much like quite a lonely, isolating thing as a gay kid. So I did look kind of inwards anyway, like as a natural sort of reaction to that. So I guess it could have been me working through those issues.
So is your own looking for identity connected with looking for your identity in that society?
Definitely in the earlier works, it was very much like one of the characters was a drag queen, and that was very much something I was interested in at the time. It's something that still interests me now, how you can navigate your own identity, I guess, in the shadow of a national identity or in the shadow of a society's approach to you.
In 2014, Kevin travelled to Taiwan to make Everything Disappears, a film that explores self-image, identity and relationships. The film unfolds across 7 chapters. This chapter tells the story of a man who stays in a psychiatric hospital to escape compulsory military service.
I just consider it a performance. The difficult part was that I have to prove to the doctors and the higher officers that I was not able to finish my military service due to my personal issues.
What's the project you're working on then?
The project I'm working on for the Sky Scholarship is called A Numbness in the Mouth. It's set in Shackleton Mills on the River Liffey in Dublin. It's a water-powered flour mill, and millings existed on the site since the 13th century. The mill has been pretty well preserved, so all the machinery is still there, it still operates. So I'm trying to use the mill as like a set or a stage for the characters to perform a possible future vision of Ireland in relation to this historical industrial past.
And are you bringing in actors?
One of the performers, her name is Sinead Ní Ullacón. She's actually a fluent Irish speaker. She has her own radio show.
Sorry, I'll turn it up even more, okay?
Yeah.
Mar bharróg aráin agus ime mar hampla a bháin.
Her character is actually a TV presenter, so she fitted the role quite well.
Yeah.
I guess like in the cake you were both very separate and they were like physically divided in your room.
And the other performer, her name is Jenny Swingler. She's very much like a theatre performer, a very physical, powerful performer. We're here at Shackleton Mills. It's in County Dublin. We're just beside the River Liffey, which runs through the city.
I think that's really good. I think it's definitely still in the same vibe. I think if we bring in a bit of menace.
So the scene we're rehearsing now it's almost like a governmental infomercial where the Irish government is trying to convince people that that the rations they've enacted are actually a positive thing.
Molamid over enne atá bácáilte a dhíthe chomh má an numar go dóibh seachas fearr.
Kevin's film explores the history of governmental policies on food and consumption by using the mill as a setting for a future in which flour is overproduced and citizens are encouraged to consume 5 pounds of flour a day. The final film will be an abstraction of this narrative using visual metaphor, surrealism and humour. What sort of encouragement did your family give you?
My mom, she would always bring us to museums and galleries, and also my granddad, he would always bring me to the National Concert Hall. He was very determined that I went to the National Gallery. He wasn't so fond of my love for pop music and the movies I liked. He was super interested in photography, and he had loads of cameras, and he took like hundreds of slide photographs. I actually still use his slide camera to take my slides. So this is the top floor of the mill, and this scene is the flour shifting scene. So all these machines are going to rotate.
I can figure it out in the edit, I guess.
Jenny is performing her character as Lily, and she's going to be essentially sieving flour onto her own head.
Okay. So we're not ready yet, so don't bring it up until we're ready.
Her character is sort of representing the workers in the mill.
Okay.
She's like the echo of the history of the mill.
Are we ready?
I know Kevin's style to be this wonderful mixture between looking into a kind of history, but he also has his own visions, which have always been very extreme.
Keep going if you can.
Kevin, I think, maybe cast me specifically because he knew me as being a performer already who will do a show which is usually very messy.
And cut.
I think more than anything, it's given me a very visceral experience of working with the actual food and working with the flour.
What was your reaction when you won the Sky Academy Art Scholarship?
I kind of thought it was a joke. Like, I thought that they were sort of pulling my leg on the phone. But then I guess it started to sink in very slowly.
What's it done for you in your work?
Well, I guess the scholarship, the main thing it's done for me is that I've got to concentrate on my work uninterrupted for a whole year. It's quite nice after all the rehearsals and all the writing, and there's been so many site visits to see it actually come alive and all the elements of the cast and crew and the set to finally merge together into the being an actual film. It's been quite exciting to see.
Díú is misisegráine agus tá míle fáilte roimhann sa chuig Millen Shackletons sna capóga sútalún nó na strawberry beds mar fear aithne ar náit. Tá míid an sahanamh chun lé a dhéanamh faoin dúnchar atá ag buint le buint na crunachta ar chun ná meachtaí an taobh in Líana.